What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and today we are back talking about yet another Umi support card. This time, though, it is not part of the Duelist of the Abyss set. It is a V-Jump promo. Now, in the OCG, this card will release on the same day as the Duelist of the Abyss set, but in the TCG, we really have no idea. We don't even have a TCG release date for the Duelist of the Abyss set, and we never know when V-Jump promos will make their way into our format. I would assume Konami would try to release this card pretty close to the other Umi support because it does seem to be a natural extension of those cards. But at this point, we just don't know. This is a retrain of Maiden of the Aqua. Now, I say retrain, but looking at the artwork here, it doesn't really seem like an upgraded form of Maiden of the Aqua. The camera angle is simply zoomed out a little bit, but she's wearing the same stuff, she has the same haircut, she has the same weapon, so I don't actually know if this is like Maiden of the Aqua later on in life. It seems like the picture is from the exact same moment as the original card, which is kind of a strange choice. I'm surprised they didn't like upgrade her and give her like better armor or a new weapon or something along those lines. Regardless, in today's video, we're going to review this card and talk about how it might be played in the upcoming Umi deck that's all about Mako Tsunami support. Before that, though, I wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Ridge Wallets. You guys have probably heard of them before. I've talked about them a lot on this channel. They make these cool, sleek, industrial wallets. They come in all sorts of colors. They have a money clip on the back for carrying cash. If you guys are interested in Ridge Wallets, make sure to go to ridge.com/Dzeeff and use promo code Dzeeff at checkout for 10% off of your order. Ridge has been a long-time sponsor of the channel, so thank you once again for sponsoring today's video. Anyway, let's talk about this new Maiden of the Aqua card, and by the way, there is one typo on this card text that was posted by Yu-Gi-Oh! News TCG. This card does not take 2 level 4 monsters. That was probably just left over from an Xyz monster they made a post about and they forgot to delete it. Anyway, this is a level 4 water aqua effect monster with 700 attack and 2000 offense, so the exact same stats as the original Maiden of the Aqua, which once again leads me to believe that this really isn't an upgraded form as much as it is just a new form of Maiden of the Aqua at that same moment. Anyway, this card says you can only use the 1 and 2 effect of this card's name each once per turn. So you are allowed to use both of them in the same turn, but they are both hard once per turn effects. You can target one water monster in your graveyard, apply one of these effects, but you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except water monsters. Until the end phase, this card's level and name become that monsters. That's not really that impressive, but the second one is if Umi is on the field, special summon that monster in defense position. Now, when you are playing an Umi deck, you will probably have Umi face up on the board at all times, and that means that this is basically just a free like wolf bark every single turn. And that is pretty good, but let's take a look at the second effect as well. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Umi in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And that's good because, as some people have pointed out, the Umi deck does kind of crumble if the Umi gets sent to the graveyard. Most of your effects suddenly do nothing if that happens, so having a bit of recovery is a good thing. I think that this new Maiden of the Aqua card is actually going to be played in the deck. Hey, I mean, that's a new way to special summon that card we looked at a few days ago. That's a Floodgate. This is a way to revive that card if you perhaps like discarded it to the graveyard for another card's ability. Right now, I think the Umi deck is primed to be at least a pretty good rogue deck. The Kraken is cool. It's a nice piece of interruption. The Jellyfish can special summon waters from your hand, and it can negate monster effects or spells. Then also we have that big Kairyu Shin Floodgate monster. That's great. Oh, and all of these cards are searchable by Fish Sonar, which is obviously a huge boost to consistency. Now, I will say here that Maiden of the Aqua was one of the oldest Umi support cards in the entire game, so I am happy to see that she got an upgraded form. This is a card that has been around for a very long time, so it's cool to see an upgraded form, although I wish they did more with their artwork so it wasn't exactly the same as the original artwork from way back in the day. Now, I will mention here that there are other older Umi support cards that I would love to see get upgrades as well. You have like Mermaid Knight, that could be kind of cool. That was like a double attacking one. You had the mech that could like attack directly. So there are other cards that I think deserve upgrades as well, but Maiden of the Aqua does make sense. Now I do want to talk about for just a moment here before we end the video, which Umi are people going to play? Now the vast majority of people have said that a Legendary Ocean will be a staple 3 of in these Umi decks, and I'm inclined to agree with that mostly. I mean, a Legendary Ocean is very good with the new Floodgate monster. It does put it to level 4, so you can simply normal summon it, but also a Legendary Ocean has the extra searchability by being able to be added with Warrior of Atlantis. So that is pretty good in an Umi deck, but also I wanted to point out Lumeria, the Forgotten City, a card that I feel like a lot of people, and I'm not trying to make a pun here, forgot about. This is a field spell from Abyss Rising that says this card's name is treated as Umi, of course. All water monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Once per turn during your main phase, you can have all water monsters you currently control gain levels equal to the number of water monsters you currently control until the end phase. Now back in the day when this card was released, it did see a bit of experimentation in decks like Frogs. You could summon a bunch of frog monsters and then play this card and increase their levels by quite a bit to summon bigger Xyz monsters like Mermail, Abyss, Gaios that otherwise wouldn't have been possible in that type of deck. So I think that this card could be interesting as maybe like a one of, you play 2 a Legendary Ocean and 1 copy of this, because it does give you a way to summon some pretty big Xyz monsters. Now maybe people don't care about that, maybe the main deck monsters are so good by themselves that people don't want to summon bigger Xyz monsters, but personally I think a lot of people have simply forgotten about this card and they're not really taking it into consideration when they're talking about Umi decks. So I just wanted to highlight that there is another good Umi field spell besides a Legendary Ocean, just in case you guys are trying to build a deck with all of these new cards. Anyway, back to this new card, I think you'll probably play like 1 or 2 copies of it. Keep in mind you can search it with Fish Sonar, so essentially you have 3 extra copies of it whenever you want to have it in your hand, and I think the effect is good, but it does require a bit of setup. You do have to have a water monster in your graveyard, so I think for that reason it probably won't be a 3 of. Now that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily, because I do think it'll be played in the deck, but it's not a card that you want to see in like every opening hand, unlike the Jellyfish or the Kraken or the Floodgate monster, which I think are all 3 ofs. I do still think the card is a cool piece of legacy support for a fan favorite monster from back in the day, and if Konami really wants to push people to play Umi, why not release more Umi support? Now will there be more Umi support after this card and after all of the Duelists of the Abyss cards? Probably not immediately, but I'm sure down the line we'll get like Sea Stealth Attack 3 or 4 or 10 or whatever. Konami seems to love to give this deck a little bit of support like every couple of years. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this new Umi deck. I'm assuming there's not going to be any more support revealed, at least in the foreseeable future, so at this point we pretty much know all of the cards that will go into this new Umi deck. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it and how good you think it'll be. I'll see you later though. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Goodbye.